Hello, baseball way of lifers. How y'all doing? Hope you're doing good. Enjoying the day off from baseball. That's good. That's good. That's good. How about that All-Star game yesterday? I know on our group site, Baseball Way of Life, which if you're not a member, please do join. We're on Facebook. We're Baseball Way of Life. We're almost approaching 10,000 members, and we're serious baseball fans there. So if you haven't joined the group, please do so. We talked about the game on length on our podcast, but here we also do YouTube cast for the group. And today we're going to talk about some wild facts, some fun facts from the All-Star game yesterday. That's the beauty of baseball. Something is always happening that you can talk about forever and ever that's never happened before. And how about that All-Star game? Should we just call it the game that the American League wins every year? Again, the AL continued its recent dominance of the event. Unbelievable. They won 5-2 in the first Midsummer Classic since 2019. So even if you're not a fan of the All-Star game, you have to admit it was good having it back. The victory was the AL's 8th in a row now, going back to 2013, and that ties for the third longest AL All-Star win streak in history. Now, the only ones longer are an 11-win run by the National League from 72 to 82. I remember those years. That's when I was a big All-Star game fan and a National League fan, and I was loving it. And then let's not forget the American League from 97 to 2009 won 12 in a row. How is that possible? Crazy, isn't it? So that's 2 sustained AL streaks in just the past few decades, which points at just how thoroughly the so-called junior circuit, the American League, has owned the All-Star game during the lifetimes of its current participants. While the AL went 20 wins, 37 losses, and 1 tie in the first 58 editions, it has roared back to go 26-6-1 over the past 33. That is quite a run. And now the AL holds a 46-43-2 edge all time with a thin run differential of +6. So after all these years, these teams are really knotted up pretty close. But yet, the American League has been dominating. Now here's some facts you might want to know about everything that went on in the Mile High City yesterday. In the third inning, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. extended the AL lead to 2-0 by demolishing a hanging slider from Corbin Burns to left field, nearly reaching the Coors Field concourse. The 110.2 mile per hour, 468-foot bomb was the longest by 58 feet in any All-Star game since Statcast began tracking in 2015. Chris Bryant had set the previous record of 410 feet in 2016. Do you think the air in Colorado had anything to do with it? I think so. They say it's only like a 20-foot difference of not taking anything from Guerrero. That was a bomb. Whew. And his longest home run so far in action this year was 465 feet. So it's not out of the norm that Guerrero could hit one this far. Now, Guerrero, at 22 years and 119 days old, became the youngest player in All-Star game history to win the MVP award, which began in 1962. The previous youngest was Ken Griffey Jr. How about the juniors got the lock-up on these younger player awards in 1992 at 22 years and 236 days old. Now, Guerrero's home run is not the first from his family in All-Star game. Vlad Sr. homered in 2006 off Brad Penny. Now, the Guerreros joined the Bonds, Barry and Bobby, and Griffey, Ken Sr. and Ken Jr. as the only father-son combos to each homer in at least one All-Star game. At 22 years and 119 days old, Guerrero becomes the youngest player in his All-Star game debut to homer in his All-Star game debut, breaking a record set by Cardinal star Joe Medwick, 22 years, 228 days, way back in 1934. And that was the second All-Star game ever played. So it's been a while, hasn't it? Now, Guerrero is also the second youngest player to homer in a Midsummer Classic overall, behind only Johnny Bench in 1969, who was 21 years and 228 days old in his second All-Star game. Now, how about Shohei Ohtani? He did it all. The biggest storyline coming in, you betcha. He became the first player to start an All-Star game as both a hitter and a pitcher while joining countryman Hideo Nomo as the only Japanese-born pitchers to open an All-Star game on the mound. Ohtani grounded out to the right side twice at the plate, but dazzled more with a perfect 1-2-3 inning on the mound. Now, the highlight of Ohtani's pitching appearance was when he hit 100.2 miles per hour on the radar gun, delivering a fastball to hometown favorite Nolan Arenado. Ohtani joined Chris Sale as the only starting pitchers to hit triple digits in an All-Star game on the Statcast tracking. Though Ohtani was done pitching hours before the AL recorded its final out, he still earned the win as the leading pitcher in a game in which junior circuit never trailed. One more piece of history for the Angels phenom, for sure. Now, how about JT Realmuto? He homered to get the NL on the board, marking the first time, believe it or not, the first time any Phillies player had hit an All-Star game home run since Mike Schmidt 40 years ago in 1981. Now, according to Yes Network's James Smythe, that was the longest active streak of any team not having homered in the Midsummer Classic entering Tuesday. Then, how about in the top of the next inning, the Rays' Mike Zunino, also a catcher, homered for the American League. That marks just the third time that two catchers had homered in the same All-Star game, along with 1997, with Javi Lopez and Sandy Alomar Jr., and 1969 with Johnny Bench and Bill Freehan. Now, Zunino's 433-foot home run and Realmuto's 430-footer are now the second and third longest All-Star game homers for the Statcast era after Guerrero's. Once again, do you think it was the Coors Field effect? Now, how about National League ace and Nationals ace, three-time Cy Young Award winner Max Scherzer threw the opening frame of the night, and that marked the fourth All-Star game start of his incredible career. Scherzer joined Robin Roberts, 5 starts, Lefty Gomez, 5 starts, Don Drysdale, 5 starts, and Jim Palmer, 4, and Randy Johnson, 4, as the 6th pitcher to make at least 4 Midsummer Night Classics. After a clean first inning, Scherzer's career All-Star game ERA now sits at 1.29. 1 earned run allowed across 7 innings. Not too bad, Max. And the other thing to note is he has a career All-Star game strikeout per 9-inning rate of 14.14. And his career regular season is 10.7. So he rises to the occasion in the All-Star game, it looks like, doesn't it? Now, the highest leverage moment of the night came in the bottom of the 8th when Chris Bryant came up with the bases loaded, 2 outs, and the NL trailing by 3. Bryant flared a sinking liner to left that looked as if it could hit the grass, but Angel slugger Jared Walsh snagged it with a clutch sliding catch. It was a slick catch, but it was even more remarkable considering that Tuesday was Walsh's first appearance in the majors as a left fielder. He played 17 games and left as a minor leaguer, but only appeared at first base and right field, along with some mop-up pitching appearances as a major leaguer before making the All-Star game's biggest defensive play in left. Now, Ohtani, as we mentioned, got the pitching win for the AL. White Sox closing Australian native Liam Hendriks got the save. That marked the second consecutive All-Star game in which a league's winning pitcher and save getter were both born outside the United States, following former Yankee teammates Masahiro Tanaka and Aroldis Chapman in 2019. Now, Guerrero, Ohtani, and Hendricks all shined in roles, and their respective clubs are relatively new on All-Star night. Guerrero is the first Blue Jay player to win the game's MVP award. Ohtani is just the second Angels pitcher to earn an All-Star win, following Brendan Donnelly, who remembers him back in 2003. And Hendricks is the first White Sox pitcher to earn an All-Star game since that statistic became official in 1969. Wow. A lot of firsts, a lot of makeup in time events happened yesterday, didn't they? Now, the National League struck out just 3 times on the night, the fewest by either league in an All-Star game since the AL was punched out 3 times in 2009. The AL struck out 12 times Tuesday, but at home at the senior circuit, 2-1 in the winning effort. Now, before I go any further, I just want to say, if you haven't joined the group Baseball Way of Life on Facebook, please do. And if you want to get more of these YouTube casts delivered to you, as soon as they come up, please subscribe to the channel. And if you ever need to reach me, shout out at philstn41@gmail.com. Now, we're going to talk about something that's going on in the group. And yesterday I asked the question, are you a fan of the Major League All-Star Game? If so, what do you like about it? If not, what do you dislike? We had some good answers. Carl Modern said, I used to be. Selig and Manfred had managed to bust that balloon. Don Holmstrom said, not a fan of today's game. I like the better one as a grudge match. When I was born in the 50s, it is like the World Series was a big deal and followed closely by all real baseball fans. Stanley Lynch said, will not be watching that crap. It should be in Atlanta, not Denver. Jack Phillips says, love the All-Star Game. Dan Wiener said, great game for insomniacs. Ted Rogers says, I like it and never miss it. I love baseball, said Casey Baker, but politics have destroyed it. John Keenan says, it sucks, but I never ever miss it. Bill Smith said, boring. Mark Mitchell said, only All-Star Game I watch. I understand the crazy world we live in and I get everything, but I love baseball and I always watch and enjoy it. Dave Madama says, normally I enjoy watching it, but given the unwelcome politics injected into it, I'm skipping 2021. And Carl Monan replies back to Dave, the genie will never go back in its bottle. Food for thought there. Kenny John Farrell Jr. says, I like the rosters for the player recognition. Don't care too much of the game, though. Sean Plow said, 30 years ago as a 10-year-old, nothing on the planet exciting me like the All-Star Game. For the last 20 years, I could care less. I blame interleague play. Carl Morton points to Sean's reply, that and the endless hot dog acts, a ton of jewelry hanging off necks, bat flips, and all the politics have diluted it. Richard Sanders says, yes, I am watching it, but I don't like the direction of MLB under its current commissioner. Another thought, does anyone miss all-star players in their home team uniforms? I sure do. Skip Carpentier says, in the late 50s, there were only two ways CNL stars in the tri-state, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey metro area. World Series, some stars never played in the full classic, or the All-Star Game. We had to watch the game in order to see Clemente, Mays, Aaron, etc. The Giants and Dodgers had moved to California. This changed in '62 when the Mets joined the league. I laugh when fans rate players they've never seen. Before 24/7 access, you were lucky to see a player 12, 16 times a year when his team played the team in your local TV area. Spot on, Skip. I agree 100%. Dave Madama says, I'm sure you can also recall that from 59 to 62, there were two All-Star games each season. While some players appeared in both, others played in one, and others played in the other. Who remembers that? I've read about it, but I don't remember it. Tony Winefield says, like it. It's the only major sport All-Star game where the players can go basically as hard as they do in a regular season game. Abraham Breton says, the idea of a uniform for each league is an excellent one. Only American League uniform should be as attractive as the National League uniform. Those who worry about politics do as I do. I just ignore that and go enjoy my game. If it doesn't interfere with the plays in the game itself, why should I care about it? David J. Rubin says, starting when I was 5 years old, I fell in with the idea of seeing players in both leagues playing against each other. I used to take out my baseball cards and try to make them look like the field when each team was in the field or batting. When I was in sleep, we camp in the early 70s. I made my parents come up 1 week before a visiting day so they could take me out of camp on the night of the All-Star Game, and we went to a local restaurant that had a black and white TV just so that I could watch the game while it became a 3-hour tour. Ever since then, I've always gotten super excited for the game. Even now, now means nothing in the world where interleague play is commonplace. But still, seeing all the talent at one time, even a meaningless game, is exciting and fun. And to me, it's the only All-Star game worth watching. Well said, David. That's just some of the great things that were discussed in our group. So please join Baseball Way of Life. We're on Facebook. And please subscribe to his YouTube cast. We're going to try and put up as many as we can, covering a story in the game and what's going on in the group. So hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy your All-Star break. And we'll talk soon.